Good morning, guys. Good morning. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful weekend. It's Christmas vibe everywhere around the world. Okay. And I'm sitting here in Melbourne, CBD city, in my hotel room. Today, we are going live. Those who don't know me, it's Jackie from Melbourne, Australia. I am an online business owner and an entrepreneur. Today, we're going to interview a lady who's been helping thousands of people around the world. And she's from Australia. She's a performance coach and an entrepreneur. She's been helping the organizations and the individuals to achieve the performance they are looking for, to achieve the goals they want to achieve, and to emphasize on the right track and the right goal. So today we're going to ask her a lot of questions around the performance, how we can improve our performance, and how we have a right mindset to achieve the goal what we want to achieve. Okay, please join me. If you have any questions, comment below. Okay, I will be happy to take your questions, and I hope you enjoy this video. Her name is Sarah Mcgregor, and she's from Australia. Let's get her on board and let's hammer with some questions, and let's see how she help us to improve our performance in what we are doing, whether it's our job, whether it's business. Like for us, especially for me, I'm into an online business. We are helping thousands of people, come and leverage the internet world, leverage the digital business, and how we can emphasize and how we can perform better in the internet online business. Okay, I'll take her on board.
Hello,
Sarah. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me this morning, Jackie.
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, can you hear me?
I can't hear you actually.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Oh.
Yes, it's coming.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly fine.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for having me this morning, Jackie. It wouldn't be a day without a technical challenge.
Thanks a lot, first of all, saying yes to me for this interview. Those who don't know, I just want to let them know that I came across Sarah a couple of weeks ago just through Facebook. And how I came across Sarah is I'm going to a Tony Robbins event next year in Melbourne and Sydney. And I saw that you also follow Tony Robbins. So I just sent a friend request to Sarah on Facebook, and that's how we got connected. And then when I found out that you are helping thousands of people, to improve their performance, whether individuals or whether the business owners or the organizations, So I thought this is the right platform where I can, get you on and we can share some views and how to improve the performance, because people struggle with the mindset, they can't able to focus on one thing, and that's why they don't achieve what they want to achieve, Sarah.
Absolutely. A lot of people really struggle with getting themselves in the right frame of mind to ensure that they're coming and starting their day in a peak performance mindset. So part of my job is to help people to do that and make sure that I'm helping them build the skills and the behaviors that enable them to do that, not just personally, but professionally.
Exactly right. So Sarah, can you please tell all our followers and the audience about your journey and how you into this and how you started and what you're doing currently?
Absolutely, I'd be delighted to. So I am actually Scottish. I've lived in Australia for 6 years. I have a international background. I spent a lot of my younger years actually living overseas in Asia and Indonesia and Malaysia. That got me really interested in people and living and working in different cultures. And I then went on and studied languages, which immersed me further into that international field. In my working career, I've worked with pretty much a lot of major organisations like Marks and Spencers in the UK, British Telecom, Ford Motor Company, working from a customer perspective with stakeholder engagement. And then I worked in the not-for-profit sector. I helped set up a major not-for-profit in the northeast of Scotland. And I then helped set up a much smaller not-for-profit in Scotland before coming to Australia, where I worked in the leadership and management development space, where I've worked with hundreds of organisations and thousands of people across different industries in Australia and Asia Pacific, to improve their performance at work and just generally in day-to-day life. I'm also a certified executive coach through the Institute of Executive Leadership and Coaching, now referred to as GROW. So I've spent some time in the past 6 years working and developing programs, leadership and management programs for those organizations.
That's good. That's good. So that was a very long journey, and you've been all around the world mostly, in your life.
That is absolutely right. Yes, yes.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing, because you got that essence and the experience of different cultures, being into different countries, and it gets easy to communicate and relate to those people, when it comes down to helping them out with any kind of business related or personal development.
Absolutely. You really be looking at the individual and trying to understand the individual better and the background and experience that they have and what they're bringing. That way you can actually start to recognize what their boundaries are, what their beliefs are, their value systems, and also where the growth needs to come in and how you can then support them to grow and develop.
Exactly right. So Sarah, like we always talk about, that we need a guru, or we need a role model, to inspire us, So can you put some light on that why it's necessary to have a mentor or a coach or a guru to put you in a right direction and give you a right perspective in your life, whether it's business or whether it's personal?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. It's so pivotal to have somebody who is several steps ahead of you that you can admire, who inspires you, but also somebody who's currently or more recently been going through the same process and has been developing their skills. And I would suggest, my perspective is, you don't just have one mentor or one coach, you have multiple. There's coaches out there with different specialisms and people who have got different backgrounds and experience in industry, and each one will do something different. So for me, building those multiple perspectives and gaining different insights, different advice from other people is important to stretch you as an individual.
Exactly right. And
I think what your experience has enabled you to see.
Yeah. And
you can't really see the wood for the trees, so you need somebody to help point you in that direction and expand your mindset.
Exactly right. And that is right, that it's not necessary that you can have one coach or one mentor, you can have you can follow different leaders, and you can take something out of each and every one of them, because it's all about improving yourself, whether it's personal and whether it's business. You might follow two different leaders or the mentors, who one is for the personal and one is for the business,
That is right. And it doesn't necessarily, the other interesting thing is, it doesn't necessarily have to be a leader, specifically well known or renowned as a leader. It could be somebody like a peer that you work with who's already had experience, or you meet and you collaborate together. They share different perspectives that just push you to think differently.
Exactly right. And what kind of a leadership skills you should look for when you are looking for a leader, or what kind of a leadership skills you should adopt in your day-to-day life, because I have noticed that if the world is so competitive nowadays, whether it's job, whether it's household work, or whether it's anything you go into, it's so competitive that we have to get some leadership skills into our day-to-day life. We have to lead, whatever we do, because sometimes it's let's talk about myself. When I was in a full-time job, I started from scratch. I used to knock doors and sell electricity and gas when I was a student for 3 years, and then because of that thing, I noticed that I have learned a lot of marketing skills, and because of that I started adapting some leadership skills, and I started training other subordinates, those who were working with me, and I trained them, I coached them at that time, so I know that I am a good trainer, and I brought that same training skills and all into my personal life, and I'm doing that with my daughter. I'm not asking her to go and sell electricity and gas, but but it's necessary to, and I think it's important as a father, it's important for me to pass on to my daughter some leadership skills now, because if I'm talking about right now in 2020, it's so competitive, and after 10 years, a decade, when my daughter will be out in the market, it will be more tougher for her,
That is absolutely right. I think it's so important to have a mix of the personal development and the leadership capability. I would seriously suggest, if there's any managers out there who don't know the difference between management, leadership, coaching, mentoring, and advising, you definitely should do, because when you're in your own business, you need to know what hat you're wearing at any given time. And you also need to be able to, when you're working with staff or engaging with other people, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be in the workplace, it could be voluntary, it could be when you're with a group of friends. You need to understand and work out what is the best approach if you want to get the best out of the relationship.
Exactly.
Leadership is very much about taking action. It's not about role. So in organizations, you might have a CEO, but they may not be perceived as a great leader. Leadership is really focused on what action you take and how people react and respond to that.
Exactly.
And for me, leadership, I feel very comfortable with leadership as serving others. So I'm there to support others. I'm there to do the right thing for them. I'm all about impact and contribution. And I need to be able to embody trust in people that I engage with, so that they feel confident to build their skills and develop their capability to take action, which again is demonstrating leadership.
Exactly. And you have made a right point. Leader is all about others. Leadership is not about yourself. It's all about others, because that's what the leader called, leader is all about giving, and not expecting anything. And that's what the leadership is all about, And
absolutely. You have to be careful though, because particularly in an incredibly busy working environment that we're finding ourselves in today, you need to build your skills of your staff to enable them to take action as well. So whilst you're giving, you're enabling, so that you're not going to do everything and you're sharing the workload, you're delegating, but you're delegating effectively.
And Sarah, when I think it's for every one of us, when we set goals, how important is setting goals in our life, whether it's business related or whether it's our personal life, what is whether it's short-term goal or a long-term goal, we always talk about a bigger picture, look into the bigger picture. But when we look into the bigger picture, some goals are long-term and some goals are short-term, So how we can set them up and how we can focus our mindset towards those long-term and short-term goals in our life.
I think it's pivotal, because leadership is all about envisioning and having a vision for your future. If you're stuck and you are completely stagnant and you don't know what to do, then you probably haven't actually sat down and really focused on what your goals are. And I would encourage people who really sort of struggle with the long term to think about, well, what can I do this week, or what can I do this month, or what can I do this quarter, and really break those down. And I did a live recently, and I was talking about being prescriptive, being really specific. So it's not just about, for example, I want to lose weight. It's about, I'm going to lose this many kilos by this date. and this is how I'm going to try and achieve that, and this is what I commit to.
Yeah.
Particularly now, I think we're so close to Christmas, but we've still got several days before the end of the year. There's so much you can do in that short time from a business perspective, whether you're establishing your own business or you work with somebody else or you are engaging in other activity. Just going to warn you, I've got a dog here that's come into my room.
Okay.
Because there's people walking around outside, so apologies in case. But yeah, there's so much that we can be doing today, tomorrow, the next day. But unless you actually start to be prescriptive about what those goals are, envision them, and then in terms of long-term goals, what do you want to achieve in a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Unless you have a plan mapped out, one that can be flexible, where you sit down with somebody and actually really work on them. What have you got to work towards?
Exactly right. And this is the right question. This is the right question at the right time, because we are just getting into the new year time. And I saw your post about this same thing you spoke about. If we want to lose weight, it's about how we want to lose weight and how much we want to lose. It's all about how. Because a lot of people just say that I want to lose weight and I want to lose this much, but they don't focus on how you're going to do that.
Yeah, maybe they do, but internally in their mind, but they're not really spending enough time writing it down, making it become a reality, envisioning it, having a photo of what they might want to look like, all of those kind of things, like embodying those goals and having that self-belief, those habits, those behaviors that enable you to structure yourself to achieve those goals.
Exactly right. And I it's with me, short-term goals are always fine with me, I can focus. But with long-term goal, I always get distracted. Now I'll tell you one thing, I was struggling with the physical, I was struggling with my health and all from last 4 years, and because of that, I gained a lot of weight, and I was on a wheelchair for like 3.5 years. So I gained a lot of weight. Yeah, I gained a lot of weight. But when I got back on my feet, I thought I want to start losing weight slowly, and because I was focusing long term, I always used to get distracted. But recently, what I did is I did a short-term goal for myself, which was only 30 days. Okay. So I did a 30 days challenge for myself that I'm going to walk 5-kilometer walk every day for 30 days. And I've completed that. First time in my life, I have completed to help myself to lose some pounds on me by doing that challenge. So I've completed that. And I'm so excited that I'm going to start another challenge next year in January, because it really makes sense, because you need to break it down.
That's right.
Yeah, because
that is fabulous, because that's exactly what you've done. You've put one step in front of the other, one day at a time.
Exactly.
Then form, and all of a sudden you're starting to move towards your goal.
And you won't believe, I started and it was a week, and a lot of people were following me on my page, and 2 or 3 people joined me into my challenge, and they were doing it with me.
Wow, I love that. This is the thing. This is how you go and impacting so many people's lives. Like, you realize how many people are following you or engaging with you until they contact you, and then they start asking questions about how you're doing what you're doing. And
exactly.
Such a knock-on effect, and that is what leadership is about. People are inspired and they want to follow you.
Yeah, because one of the lady from US, she was following me into this challenge, and she was doing it with me, but she gave me a responsibility. She told me that you have to take the accountability of me, that I will complete this. So I used to text her, in the morning, and then I used to ask her every next day that did you complete it or not. This was first time for me, so I was a bit reluctant, but still if she's insisting me to take the accountability, then why shouldn't I? So
yeah, you have to take accountability. That's the interesting thing about a coach or a mentor. They are not there to hold you accountable. They're there to work with you to build your accountability for yourself.
Exactly right. And Sarah, when now, because we are in the digital age, you communicate with like thousands of people at a time. It's not like a face-to-face conversation. When we are on Facebook or Instagram or any other social platform, we try to communicate mass in the mass. So
Yeah.
what are your ideas to connect with those people? What are the things we need to make ourselves aware of, that we are not hurting someone and we are trying to make sense? Because sometimes when I started into the internet age, and when I started this whole Facebook thing, and got into the like digital business, I was very reluctant to go live. I was very reluctant to share my story, where I have
Me
come
too. Me too.
from. Yeah. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think we all need to be super kind to ourselves and recognize that we treat others how we would expect to be treated ourselves. I think that's the motto that I live by. And so therefore I would never troll somebody. I might challenge an idea, but I would do it respectfully. And I would more with curiosity and open-mindedness.
Yeah.
I think in terms of building a network and engaging online, it's very similar to face to face. People judge very quickly. It's within 2 seconds, super fast.
Yes.
And impressions are important, but equally it's about how do you build trust? How do you share your story in an inspiring way? How are you respectful of others and how they might feel? Because you may inadvertently cause some frustration or upset. Equally with coaching, you do need to challenge people. That's where the growth is, right? So if you're not challenging people, they're not growing. But you need to be able to understand who the person is that you're working with. So particularly when it becomes more one-to-one or in a group setting, you need to scope the person, understand where their boundaries are, but also be respectful in the type of questions you're asking.
Exactly right. Because I remember I got trolled when I shared my story, because I gave a name to my struggle, my hustle when I was on a wheelchair. So the name I gave it to my hustle was From Wheelchair to a Dream Chair. Okay.
Oh wow, I love that.
So that's what I use everywhere, that I'm coming from wheelchair to a dream chair now, where I'm sitting and talking to people around the world on internet. And before I was literally on a verge of suicide, when I was in a wheelchair. I was on a severe depression and anxiety. I was punching walls when I was on a wheelchair, literally. And I have come from a very dark phase of my life, and the credit goes to my family, my mom, my sister, my daughter, my wife, and that was the only reason. And when I shared, I got trolled, that this is nothing, a lot of people goes with this, and I agree, everyone go through the struggles, everyone has a different story. But what I realize is that if you put out your story, you can inspire someone, to get out of that phase. That's what I've.
That is absolutely right. And I think you inspire more than you upset. It's like there's very few people that are very frustrated. And you know what? If they don't want to watch, they move on.
Yeah, move on.
Then there's 8 billion people on this planet. So it's about focusing on the ones that it is going to help. And that's exactly what you've done.
Yeah.
Your family as well for supporting you through.
Oh no. Because I'm here. My mom and my sister is in India, so I only have my wife and my daughter, and I did it for my daughter, because one day I realized that either I will regret and sit on my wheelchair for all my life, or I do something about this,
Yeah, fabulous.
Then I started following Tony Robbins online, and Gary Vee. I was following both of them and tried to study books. I'm not fond of studying books and things, but now I'm studying at least 3 to 4 books a month. You won't believe that.
Yeah. Yeah.
My wife is
that is awesome because that's about inspiration.
Yes.
And motivation, both of them are incredibly motivational speakers, inspiring people, and they've had their own challenges in life as well.
Exactly right. Exactly. And they also have come from the struggle. They have shared their stories, where we can relate to some of the parts where they have come from, and that's
Absolutely.
what it's all about. And that's what my next question is: how we can overcome the weakness and the challenges, that our life. Yeah.
Sure. I actually, one of my personal stories is that for 33 years, I experienced extreme migraine pain. So a lot of head pain, which was undiagnosed and perceived to be headache, but it was chronic migraine. So most days from the age of 10, I really experienced a really significant head pain. So from my point of view, making sure that you have the right beliefs. Oh, sorry, there goes my dog. I'm just going to mute it a second.
Yeah. Hello, Deanne, Tina, Zina, Crony for joining us. I hope that you're enjoying the interview, and thanks the people, those who are live and watching the video right now. Yeah.
Sorry.
I can understand.
He snuck in. My daughter opened the door and he snuck in through the door.
Because my daughter was just here in the room, and as soon as I go live, my wife took her downstairs. Actually, we are in Melbourne City in Crown Hotel, staying here for like 3-4 nights.
Wonderful. So I was just saying, I think mindset is pivotal in terms of managing your weaknesses, because without shifting and reframing the stories I was telling myself for those years, I probably would have been in a similar position as you, incredibly depressed, very frustrated, and not wanting to get out of bed every day. But I had to power through it, and for me, it was all about reframing. I'm in pain, so I can't do this. No, I can do that. The pain I can manage, or I can distract. So the mindset is critical, and those beliefs that you have are important as well. Being aware of the stories that you're telling yourself every day. Sitting down at the end of the day and noting what sort of thoughts have I had today about myself, and recognizing that you're saying things like, I can't do this, or I'm not able to, or I need this, as opposed to I'm going to do this. It's interesting.
You are spot on. I have well, and I started doing this when I was on that wheelchair thing. Affirmation every morning,
Affirmation, so important.
So do you want to put some light on that? Because I did that, and I'm still doing it every morning as soon as I wake up. And it's really changed my thought process,
I think
my wife, before you go, my wife literally told me one day that I didn't marry to this guy. Who are you now? You have totally changed. I was like,
that's wonderful. I think just making sure that when you get up in the morning, you're starting your day in the best way possible. I am actually trying at the moment to shift my habits in the morning. It's very difficult to do that, but I am making small steps to implement those changes, because for 20 years I've told myself I'm a night owl, and I've recently myself realizing that I've been saying that a lot and trying to reframe it as in, no, I'm an early riser, so that I can get up, make sure that I start my day with my planning, goal setting. But also, for many people are unaware that your cortisol levels are really high first thing in the morning. So I try to set a routine where you're getting up, doing 15, 20 minutes of exercise, and then the right frame of mind. sort of unburdening any sort of lingering emotions, undertaking mindfulness, meditation, or doing some form of priming, where you're reflecting, you're enabling your thoughts to just pass, sitting in the moment and being very present. That is actually incredibly liberating and really relaxing. I find that works really well. And then sitting and working out what your goals are for the day, and making sure you understand what you want to achieve, what are the musts, and taking some time to do these affirmations or incantations where you have focused on what your strengths are.
Yes.
What do other people value in you that you don't normally see in yourself? So that might be positivity. I'm an incredibly positive person. I'm courageous. I take risks.
Yeah.
Those things enable you to embody them. And the more you say them, the more you process them,
Exactly.
the more real it becomes, and the more aware of them you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was watching a video, because I when I started doing this affirmation every morning, what I do is I wake up, I go outside in my backyard, I sit there, okay, I don't touch my phone for the first hour after I wake up.
So important. So important.
Yeah, because I think it's with everyone. As soon as we woke up, we see Facebook on the mobile or the Instagram, or we see the emails. I don't touch the phone for the first hour of my I wake up. I go out, sit there, for 20, 15 minutes, come back, make my coffee, and then I start doing affirmation while I'm doing my coffee,
Yeah.
And
I just going to say, making sure your phone, you're managing phone time as well, because the reason I think mindfulness and meditation is so important is that we are constantly stimulated in this world all of the time, unconsciously. There's so much stimuli that we're trying to process, that unless we take time to be calm and present, it's very difficult to filter that noise. And with mobile phones is they are constant.
They are a new drug right now in the in the internet age. You can't stay away from a single minute. And even the kids nowadays, they want mobile. Yesterday, when I was out with my daughter, she was like, "I want mobile as well. I want to call my friends." I was like, "You can't have mobile at this age, So we have
to be careful as well, because I've got a son who's recently got a mobile phone, and it's been wonderful. It's created independence for him.
Yeah.
But also the managing the screen time and ensuring that he's not completely consumed by it, because I think one of the things when we're talking about building relationships, you can't build effective relationships with people if you aren't going out there and doing it face to face. You are able to be an active listener. Active listening and building rapport is imperative. You need to practice that. You need to practice that on people, with people. So you asked me earlier about leadership skills. I think emotional intelligence and social intelligence are so important in today's society, particularly with the advancement of technologies like AI and what's happening in other areas of technological development. And we need to be actually understanding where we sit with those, what capacity we've got to develop ourselves further, and take the time to practice them, engage with others.
Exactly right. And do you reckon that the knowledge plays the important role when it comes down to the making the right decision, Because I think the more knowledge we gain, the more confident and the more relaxed we are in taking the right direction. Because like I said, that I'm reading books nowadays,
Completely agree. I've got a lot of books that I read, and I've also, because I've worked in the executive education space, working with multiple organizations, I've had the opportunity to be in a lot of programs.
Yes.
Observe amazing facilitators who have inadvertently been mentors for me, or have more purposefully supported me. However, I also believe, Jackie, that it's incredibly important to recognize your limitation where you're making a decision in complexity. So a complex situation where you maybe are uncertain, you don't know what, you don't know the outcome, or you don't have enough information to recognize who else can support you in your organization, who brings other data to the table, who different perspectives. So it's not just having it yourself, but for me, it's pivotal to collaborate with others. 2 minds are greater than 1, 3 minds are better.
Exactly.
4, so on. Yeah.
It's all about the teamwork, and that's exactly what we talk about in our business, the online business which we do. It's all about the teamwork, and
you want to build a high performance team, and that's, if you work alone, you identify others that help you build a high performance team. And if you work in an organization, you're building it as well. And the other thing I was going to say about gaining different perspectives is recognizing the intergenerational and intercultural differences and perspectives that people bring that can all add to the mix. And if you bake them, they bake the most wonderful cake.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I remember, I'm just going back to our chat. I remember you spoke about something about the mindset, and I think you spoke about something amygdala.
Oh yes, the amygdala. Yeah. So
can you share some thoughts, share some views on that? What was it all about? Because I as soon as you text me that thing, that name, it was totally a new word for me, and I was not able to even pronounce it correctly. So I just went on Google and searched it, and it's a small brain, I think, in this big brain or something. Can you please tell us more about that? I really don't know.
Yeah, so I will profess to not being a neurologist or a neuroscientist, but this is the best explanation I can provide. But I definitely encourage people to go and find out more about it. It's called the amygdala. It's almost like a tiny almond-shaped part of the brain, which is, I would perceive it as the emotional center, but it's processing all of the sensory stimuli that we experience day to day, and it's happening often unconsciously, and we don't necessarily always recognize that it's happening, because it's happening so fast and such a rate of knots that we would only recognize when we experience certain body sensations like sweaty palms or increased rate, or we're feeling nervous, or we've got butterflies in our tummy and there's anxiousness, and that's basically what the amygdala will create. It identifies any threats in our environment. It's a primitive part of our brain, and it pushes us towards fight, flight, or freeze mode. But anything new or unexpected that we don't necessarily understand or leaves us with uncertainty. So it's the fear. I would class it as like the fear center. But it's also incredibly useful when you know about it, because when you start to experience some of those emotions, you recognize the emotions, you recognize the physiological experiences like the sweaty palms or the sweating or the butterflies or the extreme excitement. You can recognize where you're going in terms of fight, flight, or freeze mode. And you can stop yourself, you can pause and say, well, why is this happening to me? It's a new experience. I'm nervous because I've never had that before. So instead of running away from it and not trying it, I'm actually going to try it, and I'm going to face this fear.
Yeah. And that's what we talk about, the subconscious mind, which always, whenever we try something new, the fear comes first,
That's right.
Yeah. And we try to step back.
As the growth edge. But you're not growing if you aren't uncertain. And with it becomes fear. Sorry, I interrupted you there, Jackie.
No, that's what I was like. We step back before we do try something, That's what the subconscious mind do with us. It pulls us back, before we and I think we know that it's not going to be so difficult, but still we step back, just because of that fear. And that's what we need to, we need to realize that and I think it's not realize, we need to start evaluating things again and try to focus on the positive part of it, instead of letting the subconscious mind dominate our decisions.
Absolutely. And I think what you're saying is so important, because if you're not taking that time to reflect on it, taking time to recognize what the fear is and why, it could be a trigger from the past. It could have been, for me, I used to hate public speaking. And then when I analyze it, I realized that it was because when I was 4 years old and I was, my parents took us to Sunday school, I was in the nativity play and I had a few words to say and I couldn't remember them. And so when I recognized it was my concern about forgetting what I wanted to say, I was able to reframe it and say to myself, well, it doesn't matter, you can just explain something differently. It's not
And last but not the least, what are your thoughts and what you will suggest people, those who are sitting over the fence, other side of the fence, and are scared of jumping on and trying the things which they love, which they want to do it, but they are still stuck into their day-to-day routine and they are just scared of doing that? And what you will suggest them to do that in the year 2020, because I am a big believer that we should work for ourselves, our happiness, and our family,
Absolutely.
What will you say?
I would say take action and take action. So start somewhere. And if you don't know where to start yourself, go and speak to somebody and connect with somebody, a friend or somebody who will push you or help you to think differently. But do something, because if you don't start doing something, you'll find yourself by the middle of next year, 2020, having taken no action. And once you identify what you want to do, then you can set those goals around it. You can actually establish some timelines, and you can identify which stakeholders you need to help you, whether it's a coach or a mentor, whether it's on a learning and development program, whether it's going and doing some personal development. There's so many different options out there. I think part of the challenge sometimes is with this sort of fear, you can get stuck in it. You kind of freeze. You don't necessarily know what to do. So I would just encourage you to do that, and certainly reach out to, I think in terms of building your accountability to take action, coaches are people that will really support you to do that. So I would suggest that you get yourself a coach if you're really stuck.
I think then,
it's life changing.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, because I have experienced that personally in last 1.5 years only. Having a coach, having a mentor can give you a right perspective in your life, and that's what we all need, and that's what we all need to understand, and that's what we need to prioritize our decisions or our day-to-day, activities. What is more important to us, because so much of stress, so much of burden on our shoulders nowadays that we forget to live our life happily, and that stress and that struggle dominates us, that we are not able to see the clear picture. So instead of the struggle and the fear and the stress dominate us, we need to dominate the struggle and the fear,
That's right. And I think when we were talking earlier about different practices that you can bring into your life, we were talking about affirmations. One of the things that I actually do every day is I think about 3 things that I am really grateful for. So they might be past experiences, or they might be experiences that I'm currently having, but they enable me to look at what is going on in my life that's incredibly positive, or has been. And the other thing I like to do is I reflect on what has happened and where did I perform at my best? What was I thinking, feeling? Who was around me? and what enablers were in place to allow me to, give it my all, like go in with passion, go in with gusto. And then I try and embody that when I'm going for the next goal or next. Yeah.
And I think, and I'm doing the similar thing in my affirmation. But I think it's also important to be thankful. It's important to be thankful for what you have, and it's important to be thankful to the people, those who have helped you to reach to where you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for a lot of people, we intellectualize our experiences and say, I felt unhappy yesterday, but we don't necessarily delve into what that meant. What was it? What triggered? And recognizing and understanding our emotions better, which is what I was talking about earlier around emotional intelligence. If we understand ourselves better, we are so much more able to react and respond to anything that happens to us in a more positive and effective way.
Yeah. So, I just found out this. I do this every morning and before going to the bed. It's a Hawaiian prayer, and I say this prayer. It's just a two-line prayer, and I do it in the morning and in the evening. It says that, sorry, please forgive me, okay, and thank you for everything what I have.
Love it. Yes.
Okay. So I do this every morning and every evening before going to the bed.
I think that's wonderful. It's about being kind to yourself.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we are all human, and part of this universe. We're all interconnected. We're energetic beings, so we're all interconnected, and I think we just need to take a few steps sometimes to recognize that we need to be kind to ourselves and that mistakes happen. And sometimes we inadvertently upset others. We don't intend to. It's not our intention. Or we don't meet and reach the goals that we set for ourselves because life happens. Other things get in the way. But being able to see the big picture that you talked about earlier, Jackie, recognizing that, I still need to get to that in 5 years' time, you can then and push on.
Yes, absolutely right. Absolutely right. I think we are almost there.
I think so. Wonderful.
No, thanks for joining me, Sarah, and thanks for giving me an opportunity to bring this important questions in the public and sharing because it's important from coming from you, because you've been involved with a lot of people, individual and the organizations on the same topic day in, day out, So because we need to hear from the people, those who are already dealing with this every day, and it's important for us to recognize ourselves, in the process of what we are right now, that what is important, and that's exactly what we have touched in our talks today. And I hope that you had a good time. This was the first time.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute privilege, and I've really appreciated you reaching out and having the opportunity to share my voice with your network and your community that have been following this. And thank you so much to everybody out there who has been following this morning. So
thank you.
So it's been wonderful. And just remember, everyone, step up. If you don't understand much about leadership, find out about it, because taking action enables you to step into your leadership capability. And it also provides you with a whole range of things like positional power, influence, and you can gain authority through that as well. And that's important when you are building your business, you're working in an organization, or going around your day-to-day life.
And that's on that point, being an influencer, I did spoke about on one of my go live on Facebook about the influence, how we can influence others, because because it's nowadays it's very important to be an influencer, because if you can at least influence one person in your whole life, it's the best thing ever, because you have done your part if you can influence someone, and that's exactly what I realized. Because if I can do it, okay, anyone can else do it, because we all are human, we have same brain, and it's all about the right mindset. And I was very, very grateful that I joined the community where I am right now, the online business I'm doing, and they gave me a right, direction. And they pushed me to share my story, and I did, and I was able to influence someone, whether it's my 5 kilometer walk for 30 days, or whether it was my journey from wheelchair to a dream chair, so it's all about influencing.
Yeah, and you have just inspired me to do a 30-day, 5-kilometer walk a day. So it is amazing when that happens. I kid you not, that's what I'm going to do in January. So
Good.
It's amazing, the knock-on effect of what we do in our lives and how we can impact other people.
Yeah, because when I got off my wheelchair, I was walking like 5 meters, 10 meters, 30 meters, 50 meters, 100 meters, And then when I started walking 200, 250 meters, then I started deciding that I want to do this, Then before accepting this challenge, 2 days, I tried, go out and do my 5-kilometer walk. So I was successful. Then I put this public that I'm going to do this for next 30 days. And I was able to achieve that. So it's all done.
I just very, very quickly before we go, the one thing that just made me think about was you take the steps to achieve your goals, and you're taking that leadership action to inspire others. Sometimes with leadership, it's rocky. Leadership can be rocky. It can also be a bit dangerous because you can be in a highly political environment, and there can be factions in the business, factions externally, competitors, you name it. So what I was to say was, it is that ability to bounce back, the ability to be resilient, to try again, to test and try, reframe, try again.
Absolutely right. And that's exactly what I did. I tested before accepting this challenge on public that I can do it or not, and I achieved it for 2 days. Then I was like, now I can do it, for next 30 days because I have done it. So it's all about and leadership, because being a leader, you need to test on yourself first before you put it on your followers, So it's most important, you need to test yourself before you give it to someone else, hand it to someone else. And that's so exactly.
You need to be constantly working on yourself.
Yeah. It's all about that. And that's where the power of knowledge comes in, And
true.
But thanks for your time, Sarah. Okay. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Okay.
Thank you. And I wish you the same, and everybody out there the same too.
Thank you. And I hope that we will go live again next year, and we'll share some more thoughts about some more new, topics, or more new, knowledge we'll share with our people, those who are watching us, or the new people will join us in the coming years. And I will be getting in touch with you. And you are also been an inspiration to me, because the story you shared about yourself, and one of the story I still remember about you going to Japan.
The one in Bolivia to La Paz?
I know, yes. I saw that.
My Facebook profile, that was a very interesting experience, to say the least.
It was, because it's a totally a different planet, So I'm 100% sure it would have been not easy, but it would have been a wonderful journey for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in the depth of despair there. My sister helped pull me out of it, and that's the importance again of having somebody around you who inspires you.
Exactly right. So Sarah, we'll take a leave. Thanks for your time, and you have a lovely day. And Merry Christmas to you and your family and your friends, and Happy New Year from my end.
Likewise to everyone, and love to all. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Hello, guys. I hope that you had a fun. It was a lot of information from Sarah. You know, she is a very, very inspiration person. And I hope that you liked it. And thanks for watching. I'm here in Melbourne City, having celebrating Christmas with my family. I hope you guys are doing the same. If you guys want to follow me, you can come and talk to me. If you guys want to know about what I'm doing, you can go onto my page, send me a personal message, or you can click my link to find more details. Okay, we are an online business owner, and we help others to come and join us in our journey. If you want to be your own boss, let me know. Okay, if you want to be achieving freedom, if you want to achieve freedom, if you want to achieve financial freedom in your life, come and talk to us. You know, let's leverage the internet, let's leverage the digital world, you know, because if you're not making money on digital platform, you are missing out on very big part of your pie. So please understand what we are trying to say here, and I hope you got a good info out of this interview with Sarah. And thanks for watching once again, and you have a lovely, wonderful Christmas and a new year. I hope to see you soon in a next interview coming up in next couple of weeks after the new year in January 2020. Take care. Bye-bye from my end, and love you all.